on the way in.
What are our limitations?
It's got to fit in the garage, man. That's it.
We came to the right place. Color matching the roof on the Bronco
Not only looks custom, it looks classy.
right on the money. The owners of the 68 GTO wanted this entire engine bay paneled off. Let's get our beads on.
Full custom metalwork, fender to fender and front to back.
Never done anything this complicated before.
God, look at that. Look.
Oh my gosh!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
What's happening, man? Morning.
Morning.
Need your help, buddy.
It's okay.
Need a couple things. You know, on the Jeep, first thing, getting in the shop, unbolting the chassis, and just rolling everything out. Engine, trans, everything, and just started fresh. Building the new frame rails front to back, all out of rectangle tubing, all handmade. All the suspension's done, 4-lane, got the coilovers in it. The car sits on its own now. The next step, the customer wants something really special under the hood. Got the brand new LT4 mounted, 10-speed, cool car.
Yeah.
But I need some sheet metal because we're gonna panel off everything underneath the hood.
We're definitely gonna need a lot of sheet metal.
He wants to be able to pop the hood and he'll go, wow, what's going on here?
So you're gonna cover up that beautiful LT4?
Yeah, that brand new, horrible looking supercharged LT4.
Yeah.
So when you pop the hood, only thing you're gonna see is that supercharger about in the dead middle. And then we're gonna trim everything else out, build panels all the way around the engine to fill in the whole engine compartment.
So you open that hood, it's just gonna be full custom metalwork, fender to fender and front to back.
Fit and finish is gonna be really key on something like that because all you're gonna see. So we really gotta spend some time underneath.
Be awesome, flowing all together, man. That's gonna look really nice inside that.
Once that's all done, we're just really getting started. We can start taking everything apart, get the body on a cart, get it off to blast, and really see what we're working with when that comes back. Of course, John's got to come with it on the interior. I mean, it's pretty much a time capsule where it was. I mean, it was a good-looking car. John's got his work to do.
Yeah.
Need some sheet metal first.
Cool. Well, I'll get that 18 gauge and the 20 gauge, and we'll get it going. Cool.
Thank you.
All right.
Alright, so we're going to start doing the sheet metal work on the front of this GTO. First off, I'm going to start with the motor. So the motor is going to be basically, it's the center of everything, but everything below this portion here is going to be hidden. So I want to start with valve covers, take a measurement, and I'll start with these 4 points right here. That's going to be my mounting point there. And then I'll figure out somewhere else to mount the bottom of it. Right now, I'm just trying to come up with, something that I like. We're always trying to make something cool, and we're also always trying not to do the same thing twice. So that's the hard part. I got my pattern, I got my shape. We'll make some marks on the sheet metal, get this laid out, and then I can make all my lines and circles and radiuses and all that good stuff for my bead rolling. Just playing with ideas like a design, how much material I can get in there to actually bead roll, and then making it flow with something else that's already on the car. The floor and the back already kind of has the same kind of pattern. Everything is flowing from front to back. You don't ever want to do something up front and then get it mixed up with something in the middle and then something in the rear, something underneath. It's very easy to get off track. It's very easy to have a lot going on real fast without even really catching it. So, sticking with one theme is always usually, the hardest thing. It's a huge part of what we do, and that's what separates us from the rest. I got this in, bolted up, it looks good. Obviously need to make some mounts for the bottom so it doesn't sit here around that side over there. We'll do the same exact thing, and then I can figure out how to tie the two in together before anything is cut and welded or anything like that. Alright, so now that we have both of our valve covers mounted on the car, we can fasten the bottom side of them and make them a little bit more rigid. Okay, so now they're fastened. They got a little bit of structure to them. They're not going to go anywhere. This is exactly where they're going to stay after they're painted and bodyworked and all that good stuff. So now we can move on to the firewall, and creating a firewall further out with a lip on it, something to fasten to and something to button up, will be ideal for starting and working towards the front of the car. I'm going to do it in two pieces because I'm going to have to cut it in the middle anyways, so there's no point in cutting one long piece. I have to shape it around that thing all the time so I know where I need to shrink and stretch. I need to shrink now. This thing has like a gradual slope. It's not perfectly flat. Just trying to match that. You just kind of slowly walk your way down. Might be able to get it right on the money. I'm not going to mess with that anymore. That is good.
It's real cool to see a brand new Bronco roll up in the parking lot today. These things are really sought after. They're hard to get, and I'm just kind of curious to see what's in store for this one. Hopefully we get to do a little customization to it. What's up, man?
How's it going? Nice to meet you. Brian Koppel.
Brian, nice to meet you. I'm Bill.
Good to meet you.
Man, that's a cool truck you got, man. New Bronco, huh? We don't get many of those. We hadn't had any come in the parking lot.
Yes, sir. They're kind of hard to come by right now. As Bronco, after many years of my wife driving a minivan and SUVs with the third row, she saw these Broncos and wanted one. Man, I was totally on board with that. We've had it about 8 months, and it's time, man. It's time to do something else to it.
Yeah, you're starting to see them on the road now?
Passed 3 or 4 of them on the way in to see you this morning, so.
Man, I know exactly how you feel, man. I hate driving stock cars. 8 months, I can totally understand. Typically, when it comes to customization on a new car, I like to maybe wait 8 hours. What are our limitations?
It's got to fit in the garage, man. That's it. Just our baby.
So no crazy lift.
Nope. Yeah, something aggressive, a little tough, mean looking, just a little bit to the height to achieve that, whatever it takes.
Man, I love it. I love it. Right off the bat, I see a couple things we can do to it to really make it stand out. Stance sets the attitude of the whole car.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger wheel and tire, it would just make all the difference in the world. When you pass somebody on the highway, we want them to go, man, check that one out. Why does that one look cooler than the last one I seen?
Adding bigger wheels and tires and lifting this thing up, it's going to look like a beast.
And the bumper's a little black in the front.
Yeah, I see that.
So changing that front bumper to something that looks mean is a must. If we're going to do that, we might as well add lighting also.
Yeah.
Light it up. So
yes.
At night you can really see what's going on, where you're going. We might as well add some lights up close to
6 toggle switches inside, and there's nothing hooked up to them right now, so that sounds good, man.
So we'll definitely fix that.
Yeah.
One of the things is this gap in between here. It looks unfinished.
It does. Yeah, I don't know how it left the factory looking like that.
I think taking these off, replacing it with something that looks more aggressive too, would be the way to go with the steps for sure.
I see that.
Man, I love this color on here. It looks great. I think spraying the roof body color would just really, really wake it up. Not only the roof, the fender flares and the mirrors, not only look custom, but classy.
Bill's come up with some really great ideas for the Bronco. I'm not going to tell my wife about anything Bill suggested. I'm just going to wait for her to see it when it's finished. Man, if you could do all that, I'll be excited. But for my wife, I mean, she'd probably think it's a prank when she sees it. She won't believe that it's hers.
She's not going to kill you, is she?
That's really up to you. It's in your hands. My life's in your hands with this now.
Okay. Man, you're in good hands. We'll get you fixed up. Let's go make it happen.
Let's do it.
Ford did a great job with the new Broncos, you know, making them look good, but there's always room for improvement. Taking a brand new car is a whole different set of challenges than customizing an old car. It takes a lot to come up with that from everyone else's. I mean, you just can't throw a bunch of parts at it and go, okay, cool, it's custom. It doesn't work like that. It's picking those right parts that just all flow together in one complete package. That's what we need to do. There's a lot of thought, a lot of time, a lot of effort to get the cars looking as good as it does right now. Taking that design, all those elements, and building upon it, that's our specialty here. You know, creating something that nobody else has, and everybody else then will copy off you.
2023 Bronco. These things, I haven't been underneath one of these yet.
That's pretty sweet. Y'all checking it out?
Yeah, man. Super excited to kind of see everything works. I always love looking underneath these things.
I love it. No dirt.
No dirt, dude. That's the nicest thing. All that rust, nasty stuff falling on your face. Don't have to deal with that with this. Thank God.
Yeah, man.
So what are we doing to this brand new truck?
Very good, Thomas. Thank you for asking.
Here we go.
You know, brand new Bronco, not many of these on the road, but there are some. So that's the problem here. I mean, you go to dealership, you get the best thing that they have. You're feeling good about your purchase. You're driving down the road like mine. You know, that's the problem here. That's the problem we're going to fix today.
We came to the right place.
That's it, man. You know, we got a lot to do with it, man. We got to change these bumpers. Make it look a little meaner when it's going down the road at you, right?
Give that tough look.
Exactly. You know, another thing we're going to do, you see the steps here have a big gap in between it. We're going to rectify that. Make that a little more stylish, right? And of course, we're going to give it a little lift.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to tear this all apart, upgrade the suspension.
Nice aggressive look to it. Bumpers.
Yeah. Different wheels and tires, you know.
I see where it's going. I'm kind of starting to see the picture.
This is a gift for his wife. It's a surprise. So he wants it different from everybody else's.
Is it really a gift for his wife, or is it something he's going to be driving all the time?
Well,
but it's his wife's.
Man, I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's the plan right now. Right?
Yeah.
And I think one thing that's going to be really cool, we're going to change the color of the top. We're going to smooth all the texture out and paint it body color.
So all the black is going to be the same green color as the rest of the car?
That's it, man. We're going to light this up front and back also. So we're going to make this one apart from all the rest of it. So you going to let him work with you today?
Oh, God, am I ever going to yell at him so loud?
You ready?
Let's do it. Let's get it.
I've asked Jamie and Thomas to tear down this new Bronco. Thomas, you know, we all started somewhere just like Thomas. You know, in those early days, you got to work harder than everyone else.
Slowly steps up.
Yes, sir.
And you got to prove yourself because you're learning all your skills. And so far, he's working his butt off.
You said you bring your own tools.
I'm using yours. Taking apart one of these brand new trucks is a lot different than like an old rusty truck. Everything comes apart smoothly, except for this one. Hey Jamie, it's just spinning in there.
Sorry, dog. You gonna get it, man. Taking apart a new vehicle, you know, have to pay attention where everything goes. I have no experience doing this on this kind of vehicle because it's new. You always want to pay attention, bag everything, write everything down. I always like to put, you know, the nuts and bolts back in where they go. It's just, you know, quick rule of thumb. Just put it here, pay attention, think 10 steps ahead, and it should go back together like nothing we've ever built before. Lightest bumper ever, right?
Yeah, it's just real light.
Okay, so we're on the back now. Fix to put all our components on. What we're going to be installing is a lower, upper strut, put a little rock guard right here, and a track bar. There's no comparison. You know, you got a lot more adjustability on this. You set your preloads, you can adjust the spring rate, dampening. This is what you want. Better looking shop, better quality, more adjustable. It's just cool. Drop the rear end down just a hair, a little bit more, right there. Alright. These go in real simple. These slide or protect the coilover from any kind of rocks, trees, so that the stem doesn't get bent, damaged, anything like that. That's gonna give us our lift. Alright, so we got our coilover installed now, our rock guard. Now it's time to go ahead and replace this lower link. Y'all can't tell, but this is super light, thin metal. This one right here is heavy duty. We're gonna go with the strength on this one and get rid of this factory stuff. Lowers are installed now. Everything looks nice. Now go ahead and start doing the uppers. Go ahead and get yours in there. First suspension we're going to do is replace the track bar. We're going to get rid of the OEM track bar and use this BDS aftermarket track bar. It's a lot beefier, it's got better Heims. Track bar centers your rear end when you're going up and down. You know, you have basically a parallel 4-link on it right now. So it can move side to side. So this track bar is going to keep it true and centered.
Twice as strong as this morning.
Ooh, you're so strong. This thing is set up. It looks way better than it did before. Super happy with it, and it's gonna be a nice ride.
You know, it always gets me excited to see all the diversity of the builds that come through the shop lately. To be able to put together the Bronco with a newer suspension setup. In the next bay, you know, Ryan's creating a brand new engine bay completely by hand and metal, as it should be.
Alright, cool. So Bill approved the design I had and kind of the route that I wanted to go. Thinks it looks pretty cool, so I'm gonna go ahead and start taking these templates and making them into metal now. Once it's all done, it's definitely going to be one of a kind. That's why he came here, that's what he wants. I'm gonna give him what he wants. So I'll be one piece, and then we can do our bead roller cut out. If we want to put mesh into it, whatever, we'll decide that in a little while. We're going to work in the middle and work our way out like we have been the whole time. Clamp me, the clamp me up. Put that clamp right there on the pinch weld right there. Thanks to Eston. Got that piece in there now. Now we can start working our way out. I can make this next. You get this all clamped and or bolted together, whatever. Make the side panels, and then that'll determine what all that is going to look like. Still a lot more to do with the chipboard and a lot more to do overall, but it's starting to look good, it's starting to take shape.
Building anything from scratch, like the engine bay with the 68 GTO, it definitely takes skill and experience. But it's the patience to see it through matters just as much. To cut and weld everything.
I've got all the metalwork done up to this point. I left this point for last just because of the master cylinder. I mean, it seems like a relatively small part compared to everything else that's already happened, but this is probably one of the bigger ones, and I wanted to put more thought into it, and I've been thinking about it while I've also been doing all this too, so it's kind of like the home stretch right here. It's still got about 6 more panels to make. Is I saved all of my chipboard templates, so it would be easier for me to duplicate everything. All I gotta do is just take this and bend it the opposite way of this, and then I get my mirror image over there, right? If you're ever doing any panels and you gotta mirror anything, just always save all your templates and make life easier for you in the future. Whenever I bead roll, it's gotta have this step up in it, just like that one does, so I'm trying to see which way I need to go. So this part needs to be raised. Let's get our beads on. So duplicating everything is going to be one of the trickier parts. So this has to match that, or else everybody's going to automatically be drawn straight to what been done. Let's go see if it fits. Oh, yeah, that fits nice. As long as I just keep on keeping on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it one day. Alright. Panel numero dos. So bend this side, bend the other side, bend this side. Never done anything this complicated before. Done a lot of sheet metal work, but not like a full engine bay, like covering everything up before. Never. People might say building chassis is complicated. I think I could have done that faster than I've done this.
You know, the trick to an engine bay, like in the GTO, is being part fabricator, part mechanic, and part artist. You know, I've been keeping an eye on it the whole time. And Ryan's doing a great job of finding that balance between form and function.
All right, so one of my last little fillers that I have to make for this side over here to cover all my master cylinder, my windshield wiper motor, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna weld a stud into here so we can go down to where we can keep that same look of minimal bolts. It might just seem like, all right, just put it on top, it's not gonna get in the way of anything, but I still got a hood that's gotta come down and shut and not hit all this stuff. And so there's like a million things that you gotta think about and a million things you gotta do just to get like 4 pieces to work right. I still got a lot more to do as far as welding and finishing and cutting all my holes out for all my vents, but the big part was done now. Every single part and piece is done for the whole sheet metal engine bay now. I got plenty of room for adjustment and all that whenever I put the rubber in there, so still got quite a ways to go, but now that the engine bay's done, it's a huge check off the list.
You know, color matching the roof on the Bronco is one of those details that not everybody's going to notice right off the bat. But those are the kind of details that I try to bring in all of our builds.
Why don't you help me get this top off? Let me get it loose first. Bill came up with this crazy idea. He actually wants all the black plastics color matched with the vehicle. So I'm going to go ahead and get everything off, get it to prep, and get some paint on it. I'm going to go ahead and get the rubber taken off. Don't want to damage it. Alright, on this rubber, you got to be very careful. It has double-sided tape on it. We don't want to damage the double-sided tape nor the top. I'm going to go ahead and get started sanding with the 100 grit sandpaper. Normally we do 80. I'd rather do 100 on this one because it's pretty smooth. So when I prime it, the primer fills up any other voids. As far as like edges and the valleys, you pretty much want to do that by hand. The machine will actually gouge into it because it's bigger than this area. So it's better to do it by hand. We don't want to add extra work, so we're going to try to get it perfect the first time. Now that I've got all the valleys done, we'll go back and do the edges. It's the most important part of any paint job. Make sure you get your edges sanded. Now that I've got this piece all the way prepped, I'm gonna go ahead and get the other pieces done and get everything into primer. I'm gonna get my primer going. As you can see, it's a pretty thick primer. It's a real high build. It'll take up a lot of scratches and cracks and anything that's left on the surface. All right, let's go in. Get some primer flowing. What I'm gonna give it is like a 50-50 overlap, 2 heavy coats, just to make sure that we fill in everything. After this, we come back with the 400 grit, wet sanded. Just to show you guys the difference in a perfectly prepped service ready to paint and a service that is not ready to paint. You have a real slick uniform, everything looks the same, but here it's got little gritty guidelines. That's what you don't want. You really want to sand all of that out, get everything flat and smooth so you won't have any imperfections once you spray your base coat and your clear on. Once that's all done, I'm gonna move on to paint.
Doing what we do around here, everybody's got their own opinion about the new truck designs. The 22 Broncos with some custom and a new bumper.
All right, so we got the old bumper off. Now we got this new bumper. Man, it looks way better. It's more meatier. It's just got that style to it that we're looking for the build. So Thomas and I are gonna go ahead and put these grills in real quick. Once we do that, that's gonna give us the location for our sensors. So let's flip it over real quick. Everything's cut out on the grills for it, so just find a location, keeping everything the same as it was as it came off the vehicle. Gonna install it right back on just like it was. Plug it back in the harness. It's gonna work amazing. Okay, so I got all the sensors installed now. Everything's nice and clean, tied up, tidy. Next thing is, go ahead and install the bumper and get ready to start putting the skid plates on. Watch the body. Yep.
Very nice piece of equipment.
Now we got the skid plate on, bumpers on, they're mated together. Everything looks super tough on the front of this. Definitely gonna notice it down on the side of the road. So we got these new headlights in. You know, this is just factory. We went over the top on everything. Gonna go ahead and pull this grill off, get that, then we can access the light. These LED lights give you better visibility than the stock ones. Real tough. And there's a white halo around the headlight that gives that custom look. Ooh, good catch. All right, really looks naked now. So go ahead and add those new lights in there, put everything back together, and see how it looks. Pretty cool, you know, building this truck. Normally we gotta make everything, but this one with all our lights, accessories, bolts on, kind of breaks it up, changes it up for us a little bit.
Change your pace for sure.
Ready for the big reveal?
Test them out.
Yeah, let's see. Nice. Turn the high beams on. Way better than before.
Oh yeah.
I know the customer's gonna really like these.
Looks a lot better than the stock ones.
It does.
Here we go.
Let's continue on, put these lights on.
So Bill had the idea to put 2 pod lights on each side mirror. And so first things first, we gotta remove these 2 screws, put our bracket on, and use the same screws back in there, put our pods on, that's easy. Now I'm surprised how much it changed the look of the whole truck, and it's really gonna add to it. Next step is going to be doing this top light bar. I'm seeing that it says accessory ready, so I'm thinking I know where to start. Plastic trim pieces so we can run the wire up through there. Then we're going to remove this plastic piece up here so the light bar can bolt right on. Then once we wire it up, it should be all lit up.
Man, that looks sharp. That's going to be a bright ass light. Everything coming together, but these mirrors right here need to change also. So we have these integrated lights in these mirror covers. So go ahead and pop them out real quick, see how it looks. You know, more lights, you'll be able to see more, and it just looks cool on here.
The owners of the 68 GTO wanted this entire engine bay paneled off. We got that accomplished, but we're gonna need a little bit of airflow and something really to break up all the flatness. So we're making some grills and it's gonna look a lot cooler. So that's it. Our boy's gonna get after it here. You got this?
Yes sir, I got it.
So that's the next step. Once that gets all cut, we can start making our aluminum grills, and man, we can tear this car completely apart.
I'm gonna go ahead and drill holes in each corner, and that's gonna give me a nice round edge instead of having to make that by hand. I'll have a nice corner to start. I'm using this little stainless 1/4-inch washer here as a template, so when you look under the car, it'll look very nice and consistent.
Then we'll be able to put some mesh material in between our template and then the actual sheet metal on the motor, and that'll be able to vent our engine bay. Gotta be able to breathe. All right, we got everything trimmed out, rough cut. I'm gonna go along now and get everything looking nice. Get all the spots where our bolts are gonna go through. Got our aluminum templates done. Now we're making our mesh pieces. So we're just rough cutting it first, making it large. Then we're actually imprinting it. Got this piece of MDF. I'm gonna hit that so it sits flush with the side that you see. Just work this around the edge maybe?
Yeah, do it all the way so it's nice and tight.
Okay. Yeah. So we're just working the edges here, getting it to sit nice and consistent all the way around. Oh, that worked really good. It's nice and flush, as you can see. It looks really nice. Let's go put it on the car and see how it looks.
The engine bay on the 68 GTO turned out really well. It's like a work of art. And that's the last piece of metal work on this. Now we can tear it all apart, weld everything out, and get it off to blast.
Alright, bring it down just a little bit. Stop. We need to put some 2x4s in right here. And then we can start taking the body loose. Once we get it back to blast, we can take it to the body shop. But meanwhile, while we're doing all that, we're also going to be welding out our frame. We'll send the frame over to Max, let him weld that out while we're doing this.
As a metal fabricator, it's always a big day when you finish the metal work on a build. A hand-built frame, suspension, and engine bay. We'll get this back to blast, now body, paint, and interior, along with building the rolling chassis. We still got a lot of work, but it feels good to have turned this corner, and I'm excited for what goes off to blast. You know, the 22 Bronco is almost ready for delivery. Right now, Patrick's ready to paint.
Medium aluminum gold. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the mix. This color is a eruption green. 9 different toners to make this one color. All right, next we have a gold pearl. Right now I'm just mixing up enough to do a spray out to check the color before I mix a full batch. All these different toners actually erupted to a pretty good eruption green. So from here I'm gonna go ahead and do this spray out. Check it on the truck, make sure everything matches. We'll get to spraying the other pieces. Well, it looks great from here. Checking all angles. Pearl is standing out like it's supposed to. So I would definitely say that this is a perfect match. When you spray something like this, you basically want to go around your edges first because there's a lot of cracks and crevices. So we want to take those spots first. Then we'll overlap 50-75%. Let it tack. Alright, got my first coat on. Looks great. Go ahead and give it time to tack off. Get my gun reloaded. Come back for the... Everything looked marvelous. Move on to the clear coat stage. And the clear that I'm using is a good 3-to-1 clear. And I'm actually over-reducing it 10% to get a better flow. It's so thick. You over-reduce it and have it flow out a lot better. Got great UV protection and even better shine. Real high gloss. First coat of clear looks awesome. No runs, no trash. Everything looks perfect. Once this dries, we'll go ahead and get it on the car.
We have a few last parts to install. That'll give this Bronco a way cooler look and make it a better truck. Pretty crazy how light this bumper is, huh?
Yeah, it's real light.
It's gonna be a lot more better here in just a minute. Just like the front bumper, we have the rear bumper off right here. It's all plastic. Very lightweight, not very durable. If you hit something with this, it's gonna explode.
All right, take that off.
So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this, put our new steel bumper on there, put our wire harness in, bolt that thing up.
That one's a lot heavier.
Yeah, this is a 2 people bumper right here. There were no stress done. Slow, easy.
This is so much.
So before we had the stock steps, you know, they just weren't the best looking steps. You could see the big gap between. You actually see the pinch weld right here. So we're gonna get rid of those, get some electronic steps that fold up in here, and give it a nice contour to the side of the truck. Okay, so this is our step. You know, it's got a nice wide platform. If you look at the other side, it's got this slick black design that's gonna hide everything. So once it retracts, you're gonna just barely see the edge of this. It's gonna look real good. Almost like a rock slider. Okay, so now I got the steps in. Now it's time to wire them up. Each one of these mounts have a motor on them, so I'm going to have to run power to each one of these motors all the way up to the front, plug into the battery, ECU, that's it. Everything looks good, smooth, strong. It's a nice step up in there with the lift. This is definitely the upgraded step that we want to use right here. Get my rubber mallet tapped on this side.
Just a few more parts left. New exhaust, new wheels and tires.
This is gonna look real good.
And this thing's ready for whatever they want to throw at it.
I've been here at Extensive about 4 months, and I'm loving it so far, you know, getting to work with all the guys and learning a bunch and just having a good time. My junior year of high school, I dropped out to come work here and then worked on my GED and got that. So I know leaving school early isn't for everybody, but I think for me it was the right move, and now I'm here building a career, and I'm going to get to do what I love for the rest of my life. I've known about Extensive for some time, and working with Mr. Bill is awesome, you know. You get to learn a lot. He knows so much because he's been doing it his whole life, and he's willing to teach you, which is cool. So he'll show you how to do it the right way so you don't mess it up and have to redo it and redo it. This is always what I've done since I was a little kid. I've always been working around cars and building stuff and just making stuff out of your hands, you know, turning something like old and rusty into something shiny and brand new, and it feels good. The secret to being successful here at Extensive is you gotta do the dirty jobs first, and then you gotta work your way up. So all in all, I'm gonna keep showing up early and working hard at the dirty jobs until I get to where I wanna be.
You know, one of my favorite things is surprises. And today, Ryan's gonna surprise his wife with the Bronco. Good to see you.
Morning, Shannon. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. You've been missing a Bronco lately?
I've been missing it a lot, yes.
Your husband wanted to surprise you a little bit with a few little upgrades.
It's awfully brave of you. What did you guys do?
So you've been dodging some questions.
Oh yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've done a couple things for your Bronco. He said just open checkbook, no matter what the cost, make my wife happy.
Oh, did he say that?
Yeah.
No, he didn't.
Look, man, I want to live to see the Bronco, okay?
You want to check it out?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Come on. You know, it's always tough when you're doing a surprise for someone and you don't have that direct contact. You're just using your best judgment. If you're making the right decisions, if you're using the right combo here and there. So we're about to see how good all this comes together.
Oh, God, look at that. Look at
Oh my gosh, is that even the same car? She's beautiful.
above and beyond what I imagined. Did so much to it.
It looks amazing.
Man,
What did you do?
Look at that. Oh, my. Oh,
Look
I'm
at
sorry.
all the lights. Look at all the lights. That's awesome.
I know, look at that.
Are those our tires?
Yeah, we totally went through pretty much the whole truck. I mean, one of the most important things is the car when it's coming at you. So we had to change the front bumper. Way more aggressive when it's coming down the road at you.
Oh, yeah. I love how it's all black, and it definitely makes a statement when it's behind you.
People are gonna... If we add bumpers, you gotta have lighting into it, right?
Well, yeah.
And not just in the bumper. We had to change the headlights.
I've never seen anything like that.
That's definitely not the only lighting.
No, I see some more.
So we got some rigid lights up on the cowl that you can manipulate to shine wherever you want. We also have some mirror lights too.
Yeah, those are awesome.
Yeah.
Color matched. I really love that light bar because I didn't think we could have one.
I know you had that height restriction in the garage, right?
Yeah.
So we found this one. It fits this truck perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to light it up.
Also, one of the things that we had to do is change that stance. Had to add that 3-inch BDS kit, you know, with the coilovers and the Fox shocks. You got a good, comfortable ride to it, and it's off-road capable for sure.
She's mean.
Yeah.
It's a lot taller. I hope I'm gonna be able to get into it.
Well, we got you hooked up on that.
All right. Oh man, that's smooth.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right,
Sure.
so you can still get in there, no problem at
It
all.
looks like it.
You know, when the truck first came in, it had that gap in between the step
Yep.
and
With
the
the
rocker
holes.
itself.
Yeah.
So we had to just replace that, put retractable steps on it, so you don't have any problem now with that extra height getting in and out.
Those steps are amazing. That's smooth.
If you like that, come check the back out.
Man, look at the back of this thing. It looks completely different.
Yeah, well, that's the point. You didn't want them to be like each front bumper, so we had to change the back also. Had to make it look a lot cooler.
It looks just as mean as the front.
Yeah. We changed out the tail lights also, you know, to give it a little more aggressive look.
Those smoke-colored lights are gorgeous.
Right?
Nobody's gonna have those tail lights.
You know, the biggest change on the whole truck, I think, the roof color and the fender flares, right?
Oh, yeah.
Smoothing out all that texture, making
yeah.
that eruption green. Not only looks custom, it looks classy.
It really sets it apart from everybody else. Bill and the team did awesome. I wasn't expecting anything, but I certainly wasn't expecting that. She's beautiful and she's a beast, and I'm really excited.
You know, some guys come in, say, you know, this car or truck's for the wife, but we know it's really for them.
Oh, he's never gonna drive it again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I can tell this is your truck.
It is. It's my
He did
baby.
this especially for you.
I know how much you love the Bronco, and I wanted to do something to keep that love going forever, just like our love. Bill, thanks for coming through and helping me give the best gift I could ever give to my wife. I know that she loves it, and I thank you for that.
Man, you did good.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, but all the credits to you guys.
You know, Extensive, definitely in the one-man show. I'd just like to thank all the guys at the shop for, once again, coming through for me. Well, I hope you guys really do enjoy this, and, you know, no more issues now when you're driving down the road, seeing another one like yours.
They'll be green so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
Have
it.
fun. See
Thank
y'all
you.
later.
I love it. It's
Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. What's up, Ryan?
What's happening, Bill?
All right. How you
Doing
doing,
all
man? Dang, you got a lot of trucks here.
Got a few. Got a
Good
few.
thing. Since you sold mine. Ryan's an old friend from the north side of Houston. Him and his family sell wreckers and towing equipment. The last wrecker I got from Ryan was a 2022 International. We made it look good. You know, it was different from every other one on the road.
It kind of became a legend. You know, everybody kind of knew about it in the scene.
Ryan took it to a tow show. He said, hey man, I got your truck sold, so I pretty much didn't have a choice.
There was a guy out of Louisiana that offered us some money that we really couldn't refuse. So I called Bill up, and he said, go ahead and pull the trigger and sell it.
Hey man, the time's right, time's right.
With everything you do to these things, you make my job easy selling the truck.
You know, I liked it, but I just want that extra room and a black one. You got me hooked up, right?
Got it
It's
here.
in.
It's here. I'll go grab it and pull it up for you real quick.
Appreciate it. Seeing that truck come at me, I'm glad the old one's gone. I've been missing my black truck. You know, the 4 doors, exactly what I wanted. This is what I've been waiting on. That's a good looking truck, man. The 2023 International MV 607 can carry tons of weight.
So you got the new body style International, crew cab of course, got 9,000 pound front axle, 17,000 pound rear axle, Cummins motor, Allison transmission, air ride, sun visor. It's about got all the bells and whistles we can get on it.
Yeah, man.
So what dare might I ask that you want to do to this thing?
I got some ideas on some things. You already know we have to cover up the tanks, fill the running boards on it. You got to stretch the front bumper, get rid of all the chrome. I mean, that's a given. But I think one of the coolest things we could possibly do to this is make it lower. Have the lowest roll back around.
That would be cool.
If I'm going to do that, now's the time to do it. I need to take it as is, before you put the bed and everything on it. Everything's easily accessible. Now's a great time to take it, do what I need to do, and I'll bring it back to you. It just makes more sense than working under it.
Yeah, and you got a wide open canvas the way it is now.
Might as well bag the front too. Well, we've done a bunch of medium duties before with the air suspension, but never a rollback.
If you lower the rear end and raise the front, you're going to get such a great load angle for those low-profile cars.
Man, it just makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Let's go check out the front and make sure there's no surprises.
So on the rear suspension, that's the truck.
Man, I love brand new trucks.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it ever, because it's all leaf springs. That's going to be a tough challenge.
The way to do this is just get rid of the lower spring. It's got two springs. Just get rid of the lower and de-arch the main spring and compensate with the big airbag. So you'll have that ride quality, that adjustability, and have that low stance too.
You know, that sounds super cool. I've built mini trucks. My father's built mini trucks. We've never seen anything like that. And I'm nervous for you, buddy.
That's the projects I like doing, getting that, you know, once you're done, people are gonna like, what the, how?
Somebody can do it, you can.
They're gonna be sad at the tow show when they see this one. Shop is instrumental day to day. It's just a must. There's many things to pick up, drop off, and you know, I never knew that I needed a wrecker so much until not having one. If you've been paying attention, you've probably been noticing our builds have been getting bigger and heavier. That's a job for the latest and greatest down bed, so it'll handle whatever we want to put on the back. No restrictions, no limitations. Don't get me wrong, the last wrecker, I loved it. It served its purpose well. It represented the company well. It was just time to move on and upgrade. The 2023 International is the biggest wrecker we ever had. To do the suspension I got to get this truck up in the air. But we don't have a lift that's big enough. So first things first.
Oh, man.
I told Carlos to get on the phone and find us one.
Ronnie, you telling me these things right here are going to pick this big truck up?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm going to have to see right now.
You're about to see it.
Ronnie, this looks like a really small pallet jack.
It's like a pallet jack on steroids. You got a pallet jack to move it around, but you've got forks that lift up 18,000 pounds.
Do they all lift up at the same time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it's like a remote.
They're all on the same radio frequency.
Oh, okay. Man, so this is ready, huh?
Yep, I'm just making the carriage fit that tire. You can adjust the forks for a passenger vehicle all the way up to an 18-wheeler. We're ready to go up.
No way.
Easy, huh?
Man, that's crazy. Just sitting out here in the middle of the parking lot of this big ass truck. So who's using these things?
School districts, municipalities, anybody who does 18-wheeler work is using it.
How high is this thing gonna go, man?
Right about 6 feet.
Man, so I could walk underneath this thing.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if I want to, but that's a lot of trust. That's a lot of trust to be able to be under this thing with that. Well, Ronnie, you know what? I think you convinced me, man. I think this is exactly what Bill's gonna need for that wrecker build. So
perfect. I need the truck back, but you can use the list.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we know how to take them down now.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, Ronnie.
You're welcome.
Get the new wrecker in the shop, so we got to make room. We're not used to working with this long of vehicles and this tall. So there's only certain doors that this truck can come through and certain lengths of the shop that are working. So after we move a couple of toolboxes, we should have enough room to get this sucker in.
How far is that gonna stick out past?
Is it adjusted for those wheels? No, you gotta adjust it in evenly.
Oh yeah.
Man, I'm kind of anxious to get going on this for sure.
I am too.
We're gonna make this one just over the top. There won't be another one. I know I say that a lot.
It's true.
There won't be another one like this. First of all, we gotta get rid of all the chrome on it. Of course. You already know.
Guaranteed.
I don't know if we're gonna have an accent color or not, or just all black. I don't know yet. I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
But what we are gonna do is make this way lower.
Hell yeah.
I know you've never seen a lowered record before, right?
Not a rollback.
Right.
No. There's a reason though, because if you lower one of these, higher up the bed has to go. You don't want that because your bumper is going to be hitting the bed, right?
It's gonna be difficult
So
to
you
lower.
want that lower in the back. How we're going to solve that is putting airbags on the front. It's going to look way cooler with it lower to the ground when you park and ride, but have that adjustability, raise it up to get that angle even shorter when you back up to a car. So what we're going to do at the back already has air suspension on it. We're going to raise it up so the truck can actually ride lower in the back. We'll be able to get the angle of approach super low. Makes sense. Win-win, and ride a lot better.
Yeah.
We're going to build running boards to cover all the gas tanks and all that empty void in there. We're going to fill all that in with a nice smooth transition all the way back to the toolbox.
Okay, so make everything just tie in together, looking slick.
Yeah, man. You know, just like the last one, but this one a little cooler. And of course,
oh yeah, I already know it needs to be stretched.
It's got to have it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. It helps the aesthetic of making it just look lower. And then that front bumper, I mean, that's the first thing you see. You want that mean look coming at you right away.
A cool tool for the shop and a cool truck just to cruise in. So when we go to a tow show, we're going to kill them again.
That's what I'm talking about.
What we'll do first, pull off the bumper.
Settle in.
Yeah. Pull off the toolboxes. Once it's up in there, it's going to be way easier to work on. Okay, this is badass.
I like it.
Beats the way we used to have to do it with the forklift.
All right.
Count down.
2 inches from the glass now.
No
Go
more?
up a little bit more.
Tell you what, let me look at it real quick. Let's do it right here.
Where do you want to go in at?
Right behind the hanger. Of course, every suspension we build is totally different. But there's nothing really unusual about lowering this massive 2023 International truck. Right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Just its size and all the geometry makes this suspension a challenge. Alright, man, we're on brake hose here, whatever. Disconnect the brake hose.
Okay.
And that, drop this axle. We're going to take the springs out. Okay. We're going to go get them de-arched.
So, let's get this one out. Just walk it. There it goes.
You see the factory leaf springs have an arch to them. And this holds the load up of the front of the truck.
Come on. There. Go. Yep.
Basically, a thick metal here, arched, is the spring when it's going down the road. So how we're going to lower this is take that spring out. It's called de-arching. So we're going to send it off to the spring place. They're going to take that arch out of it, and we'll reinstall them in conjunction with an airbag. So with the spring being de-arched, it'll let that suspension come all the way down.
Take them bags off first. Either airbags for the semi-trucks, tow trucks, whatnot, but that's not going to work for what we're going to use. So we're going to bag the rear, but obviously we're going to be using a different bag. Yeah. You You think these would be heavier, right?
It is, they're pretty light.
And budge. I don't think it's gonna come off. We got this hanger right here that we're gonna have to move up, which is gonna be lowering the truck. And there's no way to take these bolts off, so I'm gonna cut these right here off. Next thing is go ahead and lower it on the truck. Put our bracket right where we want it. Alright. Then I'll transfer punch it. Once I transfer punch it, put a mag drill on it, drill all our holes. Once that's the bolts in it, and by moving it up, that's going to make our suspension lower.
You know, Jamie did a great job raising that factory suspension up, keep everything nice and in line. The only thing we had to do is change the shocks and change out the bags just so it rides lower. I basically got a bag that's 4 inches shorter than the factory one itself, so everything's just riding closer to the frame. We're not trying to make this suspension for higher load capacity. Nope. We're just making this suspension ride higher in the truck, which makes the truck ride lower to the ground. Ooh, ooh.
We gotta have some steps on it. Me and Bill set up this piece of tube here. This is pretty much where our step's gonna be. This simulates our step. This simulates our other step. So it'll come out, down, step. So you have something to step up on. I'm gonna start out by welding it to our hangers that we have here. Get it all attached. We'll have it all on one plane instead of having staggered steps.
Let's tack a piece of flat bar over here.
Okay.
We got our tubing for our steps in place so everything lines up. I just had a chipboard and you can see in real time what it's going to look like. I've got our template for the step itself, but it's looking too bulky down here. So we're going to trim this off so we can make the running board a lot thinner down here so it don't look so bulky. So it kind of matches the bottom of the box. So we want everything to have that nice flow with the step all the way into the box itself and not just hang down and look weird. All right. So what we're going to do is just chop this off at a 45. That way our step looks a lot thinner at the bottom and matches up with the bottom of the box itself. So chop this out of the way and then we continue our template for the step itself. On the bolt is, if you got this cut, then we can split it there, then it's easy to get to. Let's see here. Fits perfect. So I got a perfect template to take to the sheet metal shop. This is such a long piece we can't bend in-house. My brakes on. My buddy, sheet metal shop down the street, and he's gonna bend this up for me. I'll be right back with it so we can start shaping it to put right on here. Most wrecker drivers wouldn't want their truck riding too low because obviously they'd be worried about the functionality of it. But I want our 2023 International to ride low and still perform like a work truck. To be able to let it go lower, we de-arch those front leaf springs, flatten them out a little bit, giving us those inches we need to install those bags and make it ride low.
Hey, Dustin. Hey, come over here and lift this truck up some.
Yep.
I just need to go up a few inches. think right there might be good enough. I need to go back. Let's bring it down like another inch. And then we'll take two mollywopping it. There's a bolt. Let me go down with mine first. Cool, thank you. Oh man, I'm so tired of fighting everything today. We just got our D-arch springs in, they're installed, U-bolts are tight, so first step of building our air suspension is building it off there. This is what my lower plate's going to sit on my bag. You got to start from the base and build up. You don't start from the roof on a house, you start from, the base. So this is my foundation. I'm fixing to build it all the way to the top. We're hitting that right now. It won't, it's hitting this. We gotta move that now. What I'm doing right now is removing the air line for the air brakes bracket, just for clearance issues. And the same thing with the shock. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that. The next thing is go right here, bolt onto the frame. You can see where our airbag's going to go right between these two plates, and that's going to expand to raise and lower the suspension.
Like pretty much every vehicle we do around here is different in one way, shape, or form. If it's different size wheels, trying to get a little lower, higher, there's always obstacles, and you adapt along the way. So what we did is utilize the U-bolts to bolt the lower bag mount down to the axle, and the bag will bolt to that. And in this bracketry, just use some DOM tubing, and that's our lower shock bolt. We're about to weld all this up, paint it all, install it with the bags. Bolts right down over the leaf spring with the U-bolts. So it sandwiches everything together to the axle, so everything's all in one. We have everything complete now. We got our D-arch spring, we got in. You can see obviously how this works. You put air in the bag, and that's going to push the front end down off of the frame, and that's going to give us lift. Deflate the bag, that's going to lower the truck. Right there. We just got our sheet metal back from the sheet metal shop. They did a great job bending it. The whole thing we're doing is trying to make a cool record. So we got an extra long piece, so we're going to cut a little piece off to put on the truck. So we're going to take this, whittle it all down so it fits the fender perfectly, so we can make that perfect shape to the fender. You would leave it like that, huh? Body work. All right, man. So I'm going to take that piece, put on the truck, use some chipboard, make a perfect pattern, transfer it over to the step, and make it all one piece for both sides. So 50 and a half, 50 and a half is center. We got our fuel tank cap that goes here, so that protrudes through the step itself. So makes it a little difficult getting this in and out. But we're gonna make a nice little trim piece out of just our cut pipe we normally use for our suspension parts. That's what Dustin's doing right now. We pipe sitting around, so we're going to use this. Cut it down a little pie section. We can trim this out, weld that in, you got a nice trim piece for it. I think we got us a winner for a fuel neck recess mount. Let's go. Money shot. Feel going like that?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool, we got our steps in place. Man, it's looking really, really good. So the next step is to anchor it. So I've laid out a couple of nice proportions of where we're going to drill and tap it. So you got a nice solid step, and it's thick enough to be able to drill and tap. So we'll have our perfect anchor points that are super strong and in nice proportions. Just the physical presence of this 2023 International gives this truck a big, aggressive look. And we're building running boards to complement that. It's going to be completely seamless. The last little piece that we need to do to this is fix this transition from the factory fender down to the board itself. So what we're going to do is make a sheet metal filler that bolts onto the fender and continue all the way down. So we have something to trim all this out, and then we can have the transition from the fender all the way down to the front of the boards. Yeah, the piece fits pretty good. Now we got a nice transition from the fender down to the running board itself. So next step is pack it all in, cutting the board and giving it a little shape.
I'm going to go ahead and cut out a cap piece now. We're going to use that to fill in the void we cut out. That'll cap it and finish it off. Alright, we got our cap all welded in. We're going to let it cool off and then we can grind it.
Plasma that real quick.
Okay. Alright, our running boards are coming along really well. We had to cut some access holes for our filler necks. Yeah, right there. So, to finish these off, I'm going to go ahead and set them in there flush, tack them, weld them, and buff them, and it'll look like one piece. Filler neck tubes welded in, got them buffed, everything sanded down, looking nice. We got all our bolts in our tubes, our main step tubes. And then I also went ahead and added some bolts into the cab as well. So that wraps it up for our running board. Back, send it to body work, get it painted, and then it'll get thrown on the truck.
It's time to stretch this bumper. You know, we can't just have the stock bumper on this truck, you know. When you stretch these bumpers, it really gives that aggressive look, so I have to cut this thing. Velcro. You can barely see it, but there's a radius. There's a little hump right here. Maybe you can see it like that, but it's kind of weird the way it shapes. It's not straight across, it kind of tapers. So just to make quick work out of it, so what I'm going to do is cut right underneath it. You don't hardly ever see a stretch bumper on a wrecker unless, you know, we built it. But on semi-trucks, it's a very common modification. You know, we're trying to duplicate that somewhat, but make it way better. Now it really looks like a mustache. Yeah, I'm just gonna tack the top of the bumper, which is the bottom of the bumper, onto this, and then I'll have my filler pieces. Hey, fellas. I need y'all's help real quick. Let's get rid of this up. You want to tack it up, Ryan? All right, thank you. We got it tacked up now. This is the gap I'm gonna fill from here to there. So I'm gonna do it in sections. I'm gonna do the left, the right, and then the center last. First thing is rolling this piece of metal to get this radius. It's just a reference right there to where I really need to start rolling it tight. Making sure this radius is the same as that one is key. So I'm gonna make sure I roll them the same, because I don't want it to be tighter on one side and not as tight of a radius on the other side. They have to be exactly the same. Yeah, that's close. If I stomp one of them, flatten it out, I'm stomping two of them. I'm not just doing one at a time, so it turns out evenly. I want everything to be symmetric on both sides of the bumper. Sanded. Looks like it should have came like this from the factory. Powder coat.
With the suspension done on the 23 International, I sent it back to Ryan's shop to get that bed.
So we got Bill's truck in here today. We need to hurry up and get it knocked out.
A little ahead of yourself, aren't you, with the toolboxes?
Yeah, we had to go a little bit different on this one because he needed to do his running boards and start his build and doing the air suspension. But now it's time to get the bed set and get it all working and get it back over to Bill real quick so he can finish his stuff.
All right, let's get going.
Yes, sir. You want to watch that hose just so he doesn't back on it? Working with Bill is a little unorthodox for us to put the bed on last, but you never know what to expect with him. It's set. Now we're going to weld up the frame of the truck to the subframe of the bed. Now we're going to set the pylon so they can get the light bar on top. And then we're going to get our hydraulics up and going, and it's a downhill slope from there.
Now that we have the bed put on the 23 International, it's time to get this truck looking the part with the rest of our fleet with that black on black paint.
What I have here is the parts off of the new shop worker that we have. I'm about to start the sanding process. Of course, you know here at Extensive, we pretty much dechrome everything just to get that custom touch. You really want to sand it. You want to give it a lot of grooves and gouges so that your primer would adhere to it. If it's not prepped properly, later on, air, water, anything could basically get up under it, contaminate it, start it to peeling. Once it starts peeling, you got to start all the way over. Got my primer in the gun, ready to go. We're going to get a couple of coats on this thing and let it dry. Normally we just use mainly high build primers on things that are textured, like all the plastic pieces. We try to sand a lot of the texture off before we prime it. But the high build primer gives it a real solid base to start with. And now that I got everything coated, we'll go ahead and let it dry. After that, we'll start getting ready to get it prepped for the paint. This is a normal General Motors black, so actually it only have two different tints in it, white and a maroon added in with the black. Get this mixed up, looks good. Now that I've got my black base on, looks good, everything's evenly coated. I'm gonna go in, shoot a couple of coats of clear on it. Everything looks beautiful, shiny, perfect match, as usual.
Put it in just like this, and then we'll flip it up. Aight.
When you're gonna have a custom truck, you want custom things on it. The last thing we're gonna do for the wrecker is install these fenders. But there's we gotta raise it up 3 inches. So the next step is building all the brackets and everything that holds this heavy of a fiberglass part up while it's going down the road, shaking and hitting bumps, hitting potholes, some cases hitting curves. So the mounts we make had to be super strong and add to the overall style of it too. Man, I think we'll be better off go ahead and starting to do this now. Yeah, clamp it and then clamp, and that's going to get everything straight, and you can kind of manipulate it a little bit. The clamp a little bit to get it straight with the wheel. After about a couple of hours lining this fender all up so it's nice and straight, they're parallel with each other, both directions, nice and level. We have our major brackets in place, so now we're just building off the bracket itself, coming over to the fender. Then we can start attaching all this. Then it'll finally be a fender bracket after that. Just straight down and out once we get this. Yeah, I think so, man. I think it looks better like that. Or it just ties into this and just floats. Exactly. We're gonna do that.
So we're winding down our fender braces now. You know, we have everything connected to the frame. Last thing is to stitch this in. Once we stitch this in, we'll cut it here. And we'll cut it the same place on the other side. Pull the second out. That's going to separate both fenders, and they'll both be floating when we cut this off.
We go back
10 years now, man. It's been a minute.
Man, time flies for sure. 10 years of your life, man. There's a lot goes on in those years. You know,
beard, no beard,
Jamie too.
Skinny, you know, change a little bit too, modify some things. Man, when I started here, I was right here from the bottom, learning every little piece of how you like things to be done here.
Hey, we're both pretty good at sweeping too.
I mean, swept my fair share around here. You know, learning so much from you. You know, as far as the business side, as far as the build side, quality control. You know, before, sometimes I might have questioned, you know, how you're putting things together and stuff, but now never. Used to. I don't ever question that now. I know. I tell people this constantly, you know, don't question it. You know, it's going to come together. Everything's always going to look good.
Man, I got y'all fooled, huh?
No, man. Last 10 years I've been here. It's a lot of cool projects, a lot of fun, you know. I'm really looking forward to the next 10 years.
For us, having a shop record that looks good and performs good, it's totally instrumental for what we do here every day. And we need to get it to work right away. So we built out the fenders, installed custom running boards, and of course, made it low. You know, I definitely believe what you put into something, you're gonna get out. And this truck is a testament to that. I'm real proud of. We've been working all hard on it, and I can't think of anybody that would rather see it other than my buddy Ryan at RPM. What's happening, man?
What's up, Bill? How you doing today?
That's a cool truck, man. What year is this?
55 Chevy with an old Holmes 440.
Old school record band on it, man. It looks real cool.
So what brings you by today?
Man, I got something out here for you to check out.
Uh-oh. What do you got out here?
Bring that cleaning stuff.
I'm gonna need that. Damn, man. That's looking good, man. Yeah. I'd seen it before when I put the bed on it, but I haven't seen clean, classy, slick, man. You know, I see records every day. This one definitely stands out. I didn't think it was going to be that cool.
I tell you what, I love the 4-door truck. 16,000-pound bed is definitely the way to go on that. I can haul whatever I want to haul now without that bed flexing at all. Our bills have been getting bigger and bigger. This is something I needed, man.
Yeah, I know when I give you something, you're always going to do something else. But this rear end, how low it is, and these full fenders dropping down really tucks that tire up in there really nice. Man, you nailed it with that.
I wanted something that lower a wrecker, right? Well, I had to have one. So what I did is just took the factory hanger on the truck and raised it up, putting a smaller bag in place. So it actually rides 3 inches lower than it used to. It drops 3 inches lower than it used to. You see, all those tolerances are really close and tight in there. You don't have much room, but we got that big old fender underneath there too, you know, to make it even look lower.
You guys nailed that one. The rims, the Texas rims. Oh, come on.
Of course, Texan. We're in Texas. You got to have Texas wheels. What you thinking?
Damn. Man, that is gorgeous.
One of the first things we started out doing is color matching everything, getting rid of the chrome surround around the grill, the chrome mirrors. Had to change all that up. Shiny black, man. It just makes it look classy.
De-chroming it and putting it all black just made it really look sinister. It's just a tough truck. If I told you that was an extensive record, you'd say, of course it is.
Man, it's such a big truck and skinny bumper, so I decided to cut the bumper, lower it down so it matches the same height as the running boards also, so everything matches and flows together.
You know, those running boards really are clean and slick, man. It really sets that stuff off.
It just ties all that in together and hides all, sure. And you can tell it's way lower now in the front, too, than it used to be. I told you I was going to bag the front of it. Check it out.
You really did that? Oh, wait. You really got that done, man.
Yeah, man. You know, before it had, 11 inches in between the axle and the bottom of the frame. So what I did is took the leaf springs off and de-arched them, so the axle comes way closer to the bottom of the frame and the bottom of the oil pan. So it rides way, way lower, but it has that adjustability of the airbag, so we can raise the front of the truck up, drop the back down, and have that bed angle so you can get lower vehicles on it. And it rides way better also.
Really impressive, man.
And
it really looks good.
I love riding low in a big black truck, man, for sure, right?
You know, I was kind of iffy about how that was going to turn out in the beginning, but you guys killed it, man. Good job.
Not only can I thank the guys at my shop that I rely on all day, every day, but also the guys at RPM at Ryan's shop, you know, for the work that they do. You know, there's extra work going back and forth between shop and shop, but this is going to definitely turn a lot of heads all around the streets of Houston. And next time we go with Ryan to the tow show, it's going to kill it there. So I'm probably going to cruise around a little bit in it.
You guys killed it.
All right, man.
I'll see you after a while.
All right. The front suspension.
We got that new independent rear suspension.
Placement of that bag is super critical. How far up and how far down it's going to be. Got to make that 49 forward real low. I'm going to try to break the world record of doing the most donuts. What better car than a new Mustang? The shorter the wheelbase, the faster you're going to get around that tight circle.
So we got lower this thing, cold air intake, exhaust, wheels, tires, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Oh man! Guinness, get my plaque ready. I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. What's happening?
Hey, Bill. How you doing, man?
Good morning.
Hey, I appreciate you guys coming out.
Well, we're glad to be here.
You know, I had this crazy idea of breaking a world record of doing the most donuts in a car, and immediately I think about you guys. Since I was little, I've always had a thing for going fast and doing burnouts and donuts. recently had a real big idea. What would it take to set the world record for doing donuts? It's currently 280 in a row.
Well, you know, Bill, one of the things that we remember so vividly is the project that you did for us about 5 years ago. You built the Boots for Troops truck. You remember that truck?
Oh, for sure.
And it was big and it was bad and it made a statement. It positively impacted so many active duty military veterans. We couldn't wait to get with you again and do something else.
You've always helped me out, and of course, I see you're going to help me out one more time, right?
We're glad you thought of us.
You know, I needed a car with a super short wheelbase with a lot of power.
It's the 2023 Ford Mustang GT. It has the 5.0 V8 motor in it. Yeah, and manual transmission is what we've got here, so I hope that works for you.
I mean, this is perfect, but you know I'm going to do a couple things to it, right?
We expected nothing less.
All right, out with it, Bill.
You know, one is the wheel and tire combo. You know, so we're definitely going to change these to a super light wheel. Ever since I had my driver's license, I'm doing donuts in a car. So over the years, I've gotten pretty good at it. You know, I had a lot of practice in a lot of different cars, and I was like, man, I wonder what the world record is on doing donuts in a car. So a quick internet search, the record right now is like 280, and it's in some other country, and it's been held for the last 10 years or so. What better car to break this record in than a new Mustang? The key to this is going to be the right tire, the right RPM, and the right wheelbase. The shorter the wheelbase, the faster you're going to get around that tight circle. And having that right surface, you know, I can't have rough concrete or rough asphalt, anything like that. It's going to tear the tire up prematurely. If we get to 269 revolutions and all of a sudden a tire blows out, it's all over. It's going to be super difficult to hold this car in a tight circle for 300 plus revolutions. I mean, your body's going to get fatigued. You're going to get tired. You're going to get dizzy. There's a lot fighting against this. You know, the more and more people I talk to, the more I talk about it, the more people want to help out. The world record is going to be set right here in Houston, Texas. What's this for? Well, it isn't mine, and it isn't the customer's. Man, I've had this crazy idea for a while. I've always wanted to have a world record. So I've been thinking, I want to try to break the world record of doing the most donuts.
Oh, man, that's a good one.
How many is it?
The record right now is like 280, so we're going to go for 300.
Jeez, dude.
Planet Ford was happy enough to help. I told him my crazy idea. You know, I called John Sentner over there. He's like, man, I'd love to help. So he's letting me borrow this brand new Mustang 5.0 6-speed.
That's so cool, dude.
This is going to be key to just getting the RPMs just right, the right tires. All those conditions have to be perfect to have that longevity of getting 300 donuts out of a set of tires. But I don't want to just do it in a stock car.
That's not
going to make the car look cool too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So there's a few things I want to do to it. You know, of course, we got to lower it.
Yeah.
You know, tires are definitely going to be key to making this whole project happen.
You can't run these stock tires. We got to do something.
Definitely not.
Some that don't get too hot and blow apart and
melt off.
Yeah,
because you know who's driving.
Yeah, I've been down that road. Not only that, of course, we have to have the cold air intake. We got to get that air in quicker.
That's right.
Of course, we got to get the air out quicker. So we're going to do exhaust also.
Okay.
And just to give it even more horsepower, we're going to throw a spoiler on the back.
Give it a little style, huh?
Yeah, just give it a little extra, right? We're going to come up with a really cool wrap it. After this record is broken, they're going to be putting it back on their showroom floor where it's going to be looking nice and pretty, and somebody's going to buy this thing. When you walk in the dealership, you know what that car did.
Yeah. And then somebody else will pick this up one day. Maybe they'll set another record.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah.
They beat my record.
Somebody's out there.
Yeah.
They better come on with it.
That sounds like a challenge.
Yeah. So we got to lower this thing, cold air intake, exhaust, wheels, tires. Got to add the horsepower with the spoiler, right?
Yeah.
And we're going to wrap this thing up. Well, dude, let's get on so we can start spinning.
Let's do it.
Yeah, that's it.
thing is we gotta get the stance right. So first thing is go ahead and pull the pullovers, get the springs out, swap springs, get that nice ride height Bill's looking for, see how it settles. Okay, so got our first strut off right now, and what we're gonna be doing this one is we're gonna be replacing the spring on both of them. It's gonna be more of a compact spring. It's gonna get that performance out of the suspension that we really want. So you can definitely see the difference in these two springs. You know, this is our stock spring. This is our aftermarket spring. You know, this is gonna definitely lower the suspension. This one right here is gonna be more sturdy. It's just gonna be an overall better ride for the car. Just need to put the spring compressors on there, put our cap right back on, do the other side. Okay, so we got all the springs out and these springs in. You can see it's kind of shorting the strut up. Well, that's going to give us a lower ride height right here. So, got the front done. Now go ahead and move on to the back. In the rear, we have independent suspension, so, you know, it's engineered to not have a strut right here. So, in the back right here, we're going to take a lot more stuff apart to go ahead and get that spring out.
We're just going to drop the exhaust right now. That way we can drop our sucker. Yeah. Good job, Jamie. You're so smart. There we go.
Okay, so we got the springs in now. Next thing is go ahead and complete putting our subframe in by putting our bushings in, our aluminum bushings and our polymer bushings. It's really starting to come together. You know, the front wasn't nothing. The rear was a little bit more involved. But everything's tight. Everything's good.
Seems a little bit more stout now. Like it's going to do what it's supposed to do now.
I've been talking to a lot of drift car drivers about the world record attempt for the most donuts. Go. And to get our 23 Mustang to spin right, we're going to need the right amount of power. So not too much, but definitely not too little. So we're going to install a new air intake system.
Basically, your cold air intake is, you know, this is somewhat restricted. So we've got a cold air intake that allows more air to be put into the motor. So more air, more fuel, so we're going to have more exhaust. That's going to make more ponies. So we're going to remove this cover so we can get our plenum off and get our fresh air intake on here. And you can see just by looking in depth, you have a bigger fresh air inlet than what is stock. So I mean, you're just getting more air in. This one's restricted by a filter right here. If you look inside of it, I mean, that's two different worlds right there. You know, this is fun. Stock. So we're gonna upgrade.
Let Jamie throw on our nice liner, and we can throw this filter on, and that's that.
Now when Bill goes out and does all those donuts, it's gonna have plenty of air, plenty of smoke, plenty of tire burning. That's exactly what he needs.
Uh-oh.
You know what that means.
Yeah.
What y'all doing? Why y'all sitting so close together?
It's cold outside.
It's cold.
Hey, on the 49 Ford, we're off to a really good start, but that's all we got is a start right now. Getting started on this.
It's going to be great.
You know, we got it in the shop, built a brand new frame, front to back, all the rectangle tubing. And we're not going to have any flex out of that.
Nice.
You know, mounted the independent rear suspension on the new frame. You know, the customer brought in that old 2020 5.0 Coyote. We got that all mounted up in the new frame. Firewall all cut out. Jamie's built a new firewall for it. Got the cab back from Blast. It was a little better than I thought it was going to be, actually.
Not the cheese grater.
Yeah, it was still a little bit of metal there. So that's where we're at right now, right? You know, the next step is building all the front suspension. So we're going to build new upper, lower control arms. Of course, place the bag in there. Got to make that 49 Ford real low.
That front end needs to be on the ground.
You're going to need your help with spindles, brakes, get all that coming in.
So with the rear, we've got that new independent rear suspension. So how are we going to set that up?
You know, placement of that bag is super critical. How far up and how far down it's going to be so that center shaft doesn't bind up on itself. After that, building the bed totally from scratch, and then we're going to build the bed floor from scratch also. And I want the center of the bed floor to raise up so you can see all those man hours and where they went. So we're going to need a super nice tanks, compressors, all that's going to be exposed. Hell yeah.
Well, I'm just glad that we only have to order the parts. They got to do all the...
I know. Speaking of that, you need to get back to work.
Man, I know you're going to do it.
I'll attempt to do it.
The 49's an iconic Ford pickup truck. Everybody loves these. A lot of people like the front ends and they like the beds. You know, they're a little bit different than the Chevys. This is a cool looking truck. Got a good platform. They're doing some awesome stuff so far, so this will be a cool one. Alright, so we're going to start on the front suspension now. Got the wheel thrown up here on the transmission stand. I can adjust it just like every other suspension we do. I'm just going to get up to ride height, make sure I got clearance whenever I turn. It doesn't hit anything. It's centered in the wheel well. See what it looks like when it's going to be laid out on the ground. Right out. Oh, I can even come down some. We got plenty of brackets to roll the wheel. So now I take this half by half and I can attach it here to here. So this bushing sleeve right here to the lower ball joint cup. I'm gonna make me a mock-up lower control arm. So using this, I can get my point, I can get everything that I need to be able to take this to the table. So there's our jiggy jig Jiggersons. We're gonna get jiggy with it. Now we got this tacked into place. I can take some measurements, go clean some pipe, cut it, and bend it, come back here and fit it on. So instead of doing straight pipe or anything like that, we're gonna have to put a step in our control arm. So it's gonna go flat and then kick up. That way whenever it's fully inflated, the bag isn't fully stretched out all the way and it's a little bit more relaxed. And it'll also make this thing ride that much better. I think I'll try it, because I don't know how far I gotta do. What? Perfect. How did I do that? Some days, man, I wake up and I'm just like, feels good to be a gangster. Template made up for our back plate for the center of our lower control arm. Go give this to Jesse. He'll cut me 2 of these out. While he's doing that, I can start making. Thanks so much, dude.
We got to bend it up.
Yeah. Just have to break it right there. Yeah, 3/8 is perfect, man. Alright, so I've got the driver's side done. I'm going to do the exact same thing on my jig to the passenger side. Make 2 of them, weld them all out. Then we can start doing all the rest of our suspension work on the truck.
Now that Ryan's finished up the lower control arms on the 49 Ford, he's moving on to the uppers.
So we got our control arms done. I got a ball joint tacked into the driver's side. Take it over there and mock this up. And then we can get a measurement for our upper control arms. Man, that alternator is in the way, man. Dude, that's gonna be the smallest arm ever. We built a ton of arms here for just about everything, and a lot of those times it doesn't work out. Just like this case right here. I knew these were laying over there. I'd seen them before. They're gonna clear. I just need to take like 2 or 3 inches off of them, which is way easier to take away than it is to add. So I think I might luck out on this one. Only an inch. Not bad. Not bad, Chad. Now I got this all traced out and mirrored. side, you gotta do the other. Got my lines made. I can put that there, tag it straight to this piece. I already got these pieces made for the arms. All I gotta do is just figure that out. Be good to start making our second arm. It's real close, but we gotta make a few changes to the stuff we have here. So the frame, we're gonna have to notch it for, you know, all of our lift that we're gonna get. And then the header, we're gonna have to just take out this front tube here and make a 45 and go up straight. So you gotta sacrifice those few little things, a little bit extra work, but it saves a bunch of time using these control arms rather than making a whole new set. And we'd probably still get into that anyway. And then we can start making the upper tabs for the control arms. What I like to do with these shackles here, frame where I think it needs to be just by taking some measurements. Then I can cycle everything as if it were, you know, in motion if it was rolling down the road. It's not rubbing anymore now. Perfect. Alright, so I got my 3 templates. I can use this one for the front too, but these, unfortunately, I'm going to have to make individually for both sides. So I'm going to lay all these out, and I can just knock them all down into smaller pieces. Take it over to the bandsaw and get these ones I can't get with the shear, and then spend some time with a grinder. Give it a good punch there. Buddy old hell. Alright, I think we're ready to tack at that. Alright, so I got my tabs tacked in, mounts are good, the travel's right, just like we did on the mock-up, everything is good. We could just go start working on the other side, but I want to build out this whole entire side first, and I'll just take all my templates and then knock every single thing out at one time. So I'm going to start on bag mounts now, have our entire driver's side done.
Almost finished building out the 23 Ford Mustang for that test run. First, Jamie and Ryan are going to add that new performance exhaust. We'll be able to get more airflow and even more power.
It's going to be loud, raspy, it's going to have cutouts. It's going to be perfect for what we're going to throw at it. It's going to sound awesome, and it'll look good too. This is like one of the best looking exhausts I've ever seen. Make them go down level. That actually looks better like that. One step closer. Burning the tires off this thing. Man, dude.
It's a really nice exhaust for this car. The fins, the
slick
bands, everything is 100%
polished.
Awesome on this
man. We just have to mount the wheels and tires. We're done. Look at that.
You know, 555s, man.
So those are them, huh? Apparently these things aren't going to get too hot, huh? We'll see about that.
Man, this thing looks real good. It's got that stance, that aggressive stance Phil always likes. I mean, this thing is ready to hammer.
Awesome. And if they're going to hold up to what he's going to do to it, man, that's even better. I'm eager to see how it sounds out there.
Yeah.
You want to take it out?
Yep.
At the shop got the 23 Mustang sitting right and looking good, and we added that spoiler. So before we go any farther, I want to see what the car is actually going to do. There's some stipulations about breaking the donut world record. You only have 3 times the length of the car, so we have a super tight circle to stay within. All right, what we need is 24 feet. So I got my son Corbin out here today. We're laying out that circle to see exactly how big that diameter is and how much room I got to stay within. My buddy Marcos did a great job pouring me a super slick piece of concrete, so I think that's going to be critical in this whole journey. We got 100 times around. You down?
Yeah, let's go.
Today I'm going to shoot for 100 just to kind of gauge tire wear, to see where we're at with everything, but I'm definitely going to beat that world record. Is this true?
No.
Alright, you ready? Let's see what's up.
Yeah.
to stay in this circle. How many?
31.
It's real cool. Have your son sit beside you doing a lot of donuts. How many?
54.
As time goes on, that tight circle is getting just a little more sticky.
I'm excited to see the tires after this.
Staying in that circle is getting a lot harder the longer it goes. How many?
90.
You have to use more RPMs to get it to stay in that tight circle. Tires are very sticky. I'm dizzy. Are you dizzy? What? Oh, man. Man. I mean, that was 100 times right now. The circle got really sticky. You know, getting those RPMs dialed in. You get a little dizzy in there, and you get a little motion sickness. So, you know, this is going to be quite a challenge to do that 300 times.
At first it was really easy, but towards the end it gets really hard. You get very nauseous during the ride.
Now also, you know, I hit one of the cones out there. You know, if this were for real, I'd have to start over. That wouldn't count. I'm gonna go back to the shop, figure out a couple things, and when I come back, it's on. Guinness, get my plaque ready. We're most of the way through the front suspension on the 49 Ford. Next up, some bag mounts.
So normally when we set the bag brackets up, we like to center everything in the center of the control arm. But the upper control arm is going over here. It's so far over to the right, and that's usually where I put my shock. So I'm not going to have any shock room over here on the right side of this arm. But I also have a tie rod and my steering for my rack over here that's on this side. I want to put a shock in this area somewhere. So I'm going to offset the bag breadth to this side of the control arm as I can get. That way I got enough room for my shock to miss my rack, to miss the bag, and to miss the tie rod whenever we're turning. So with all that plan, this is how we're going to do it. I've never mounted the shock in front of the bag before. It's always standard. It's just right behind it off the side of the control arm. Another cool factor is just the offset of the upper control arm. It doesn't have to be centered. You know, geometry doesn't know anything, and it just knows the points. That's it. So you can do whatever you want, just whatever the application calls for, really. That looks swell. I'm gonna tag it. You know what? I'm gonna assemble all of this first instead of guessing. Nice. I don't like guessing. You know, going around the alternator and missing the header is just going to be beneficial later on for us, and it looks cool. So it's a little bit different than the last one that we've done, and doing something new is always better than doing the same repetition over and over and over. I'm going to go give them to Jesse. Work at a pipe shop, and whenever it would rain and thunder like real bad, they would make us shut down. Like we couldn't weld or like operate any machine. Like 20 years before I worked there, they said that there was a real bad thunderstorm, and the building like got struck by lightning, and probably like $200,000 worth of equipment or something. So the brothers were like, if it ever rains ever again, like we're never gonna work. Alright, cool, so now we have everything built for the driver's side of this truck. Got lower control arms done, upper control arms, shocks, bag brackets, everything. It's just always cool being able to, you know, not have to do the same exact thing. We've done thousands of suspensions here, and very rarely are two the same. So, being that this one had to go around so much stuff, I highly doubt I'll ever have to do this ever again. So, that's the cool thing about custom, because it's always something new.
really big build for us. Now we can get on to the rear.
So today we're gonna mount rear airbags and the shocks. We can see exactly where our wheel's gonna be, where it's fully compressed and when it's at full droop. So we know exactly what we're working with and where everything is going to be whenever everything is said and done. So let's go clean some pipe. We'll talk about it when I come back with the clean pipe. Right now, so I clean this dang old pizzite. We're gonna put it right here. This dang old man. Dang old, clean this dang old thing, man. Dang old man. Alright, so after making my template, I decided to make this little piece, and I can make my metal piece just be small instead of going the full width of the control arm. We don't need to take up that whole entire space. We just need this corner of it, and it doesn't need to really be super reinforced and overkilled. So we're gonna make it simple. I can take it over to Jesse and have him cut it out on the table for me. I'm gonna put bends right there in the circle, so just don't cut it for me. All right, alrighty, 2 of them. Yeah, thank you. That's good. We'll use this. This will work out perfect. I'll duplicate it, make 2 of everything, and that way we can just do the other side when it's okay. Everything's looking good, and we'll be on to the next step after that.
We're finishing up the custom suspension on the 49 Ford, so today is definitely a good day. It's one more thing checked off on that giant checklist. The bed's just beyond repair, so next up we need to completely build the bed floor and bed from scratch. It's going to take a lot of metal work, then it's body, paint, and of course one-of-one interior. You know, we put a lot of sweat equity into ground-up builds like this, but I know once it's done, it's going to be worth every penny and then some.
Oh, yeah. Rear suspension's done now. I think now all the suspension on the whole truck is done, so now we can focus on getting this bed off and getting the new one built and put on and keep on keeping on.
You know, I didn't want to attempt to break the world record for the most donuts in a stock-looking 23 Mustang, so I had to get it wrapped. One thing I learned from the test run, the car just didn't have enough power, so we're going to add a Pro Charger for that extra power that I need.
We added a cold air intake, tried it out, and once the tires started warming up, it wasn't cutting it, thinking it was going to be enough power, but it just wasn't there. So we went ahead, we pulled the cold air intake out. We're going to install a Stage 2 Pro Charger kit. We're going to add about 315 horsepower, so no matter how sticky those tires get, the thing's going to have so much more power than it has now that he's definitely going to accomplish the goal for the record. So the first step's going to be start disassembling everything. We're going to pull the front bumper cover off to make room for the intercooler, and a couple things off the motor. The coolant reservoir is going to get changed just to make room for everything, and that's where we're going to start. We got the expansion tank removed and the sway bar removed so we can make room to get our drive pulley for the Pro Charger installed. So the drive pulley mounts to the factory crankshaft pulley. There's a belt that goes from here to the Pro Charger. This is what drives it. I'm going to go ahead and install this, and then we're going to continue on and mount the Pro Charger and get moving along. The bracket for the Pro Charger will be next. These brackets right here get installed to pull the radiator closer to the core support to give us more clearance between the engine and the fans. We're going to need as much as we can get, that's for sure. This is Pro Charger's P1X. It's a Stage 2, pretty good size blower. And essentially all it does is the crankshaft pulley we installed earlier, the belt will route to this and it will drive this, which this will suck air in and create boost and force more air into the motor. And that's where we get the power from. The reason we add oil into it, because there's gears inside this, they're spinning at such a high RPM, they'd heat up without the oil, so the oil keeps them lubricated. Without it, they'd go so far and then just lock up. now we mount the power. So now we're gonna go ahead and connect the Pro Charger to the motor with the 8-rib belt. Almost there. Got it. So this is our intercooler we're gonna mount right here behind the bumper. So what this does is, as the Pro Charger produces airflow, it travels through the intercooler and air runs through it. Cooled air is what gets put into the motor. The cooler the air, the better the motor runs. All right, so now we got our intercooler installed, our Pro Charger's installed, pulleys and belt, everything's good to go there. But now we're gonna start doing all our plumbing, which is our air inlet side and outlet side that goes to the intake. So now our expansion tank is in, which was the last piece of the puzzle for our Stage 2 Pro Charger kit. So now we're gonna go ahead and button everything up, radiator cover, front bumper on, and see what kind of power this thing will make, and watch Bill set some records.
So a special thing happened when Bill gets the keys and gets behind the wheel some. You know, some clicks in his head and says, I need to go and see how far this car is going to go. Yeah. We've seen so many donuts out there, so many roller burnouts. Who does that?
Yeah,
Bill Carlton.
Yeah, dude, he buys like a brand new dually and you think he's gonna, baby it, but no, he's out like driving sideways. Like, you think he's gonna roll over and he's like, nah, man, it's good, we're good.
That's where his happy place is, it seems like.
He's got it down. He's been driving for a long time too, so he's learned all the tricks of the trade, but hands down, one of the best drivers I've ever ridden with.
I can say the same exact thing. You know, he's just one of a kind, man. Yeah. And getting behind a car with him, man, you can't not smile. I mean, you're gonna be scared, but at the end you're like, oh, that was pretty cool.
It was so much fun. Yeah.
I've already done this before, so we just gotta do it in a circle.
Yes, sir.
You know, I've never tried to set a world record before, never tried to break a record like this. So I'm going to give this one more attempt to make sure everything is 100% right.
We got to measure 23 and 5/8 all the way around.
See, so now we're going to be off by an 1/8 inch.
What do you mean?
Because it keeps moving.
You're slow.
Golly, it does not look like a lot of space.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
That does not look like a lot. 280 times?
I mean, we just did 100 last time.
What was that like?
Very nauseous.
Oh, look, here it comes. Oh, man. That thing is gorgeous. Oh, my goodness. I've seen a stock 5.0. This is definitely... What do y'all think? Oh, my goodness.
A lot different than I remember.
Yeah, man, we changed it up a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. We couldn't just have just an old stock car if we're going to attempt a world record, right?
I don't think you could do that in a stock car.
Right, well, we ain't got to worry about it anymore because it's definitely not stock.
It's not.
Breaking a world record, you can't have a stock car. Of course, we had to hook the car up. The first thing you got to do to make a car look good is getting that stance right. It sets the attitude for the car.
It sounds pretty mean. Once you do the exhaust.
Yeah, it's all new exhaust, all stainless, sounds good, looks good, and it's going to get that exhaust out quick.
Oh, yeah.
That throaty sound, the mean sound, that's exactly what we want. We're going to be doing a lot of circles, so we want it to sound real well too. We had to make it lower, right? So we had to change out the coil springs. With the shorter ones, get that low stance.
It looks so much more aggressive now too.
And we had to top it off with the wrap.
The wrap is so pretty. Seeing that wrap and everybody involved along that design is going to look incredible when he officially beats a world record.
Trick Motorsports got it all hooked up, looking good.
It looks gorgeous.
Representing my shop and everybody that's helped out. So of course the wrap has to be on point. You know, anybody that's going to look up the world record is going to see this car. This is the tires to be able to go around this circle, you know, hopefully like 300 times.
Yeah, exactly.
We're shooting for. Tires are what this competition is going to be all about. This record is going to be based upon, you know, the right tire compound, different tire pressure, keeping it in first gear, trying to get those RPMs as low as possible to not just blowing the tires totally off, smoking them, throwing off too much rubber at one time. We want to minimize that and make those tires last as long as possible.
Since we already did the 100, I really think you could do it. It was pretty easy the first time.
Well, I definitely learned a couple of things since we were out here last. Once we did like 60 or 70 last time, the car had to be floored all the way around. It, you know, it had an air intake on it, but it just needed a little bit more power. I mean, that circle gets a little sticky, you know, once you go around that many times. So Pro Charger stepped up, we gave him a call, and it's got plenty of power right now.
Oh, yeah. So today you're going to try to do 280?
I'm going to beat 280. You know, the record in donuts in a car is 280. So the attempt today is to beat that. You know, next week we're going to do it officially. So I want to give it one more go around just to see how many we can do today, right?
Make sure you can do it.
So Corbin, you with me this time. You guys be the outside counters so we make sure we get this accurate count.
Sounds good.
Man, I see you got the circle set up. It's looking good. Thank you. Y'all good?
Yes, sir.
All right, girl, come on. Of course, the car being set up perfectly is one of the main things to break this record. But I think the most important thing is going to be mental. If you lose focus for 1 second, bam, you're outside of the circle. Contest is over. All right, we'll see what happens. Longevity of the tires.
That's 60.
You know, going around in all these circles, of course, you're getting dizzy, but you got to stay focused. You can't pay attention to anything around you. You're just paying attention to the cone right in front of you that you're going around on and listening to RPMs. That's pretty much every thought.
And spinning around in the car is no joke. When you're going for that long, I've never been so nauseous in my entire life, but it takes some sort of almost like athletic ability to get you to be able to focus and do donuts for that long. It takes a lot of concentration.
And I'm getting a little ways away. Well, everything's going good. It's super smooth, dialed in, till all of a sudden, just that little bit of lapse of concentration. Bumped a cone, knew I hit it. Would have been disqualification if this would have been a real record-breaking attempt. Since I already hit the cone, decided to go ahead and have a little bit of fun with it. Fun. The car got a little hot. It's making a lot of power now, so there's a delicate balance of how to make this work and how to really break that record. You know, today I learned a valuable lesson of focus, of wonder. Next time, we're bringing everybody together. We're going to make